She stole a crown to save lives, but the king returned. The mirror didn't lie, but Kate had gotten very good at it. She adjusted the shimmer veil across her face, a piece of alien technology that bent light just enough to make her features seem slightly less human. The soft purple glow it cast made her look almost meridian, almost royal, almost like the princess she was pretending to be. "Status report, Your Highness," the computer chimed. 14 new arrivals today," Kate replied, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "All processed through the lower levels." She didn't add that they were all human refugees, or that every new arrival made her deception more dangerous. The station's AI was loyal to the Meridian throne, and while it accepted her as Princess Vara, she never pushed her luck with details. Station 7 hung in the darkness of space like a tarnished coin, spinning slowly in orbit around a gas giant no one had bothered to name. It wasn't much to look at, just another waypoint between more important destinations. That's exactly why the Resistance had chosen it. No one looked too closely at forgettable places. Kate straightened her ceremonial robes, the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders along with the ornate fabric. 3 years of maintaining this charade had taught her every nuance of royal protocol. She knew how to tilt her head just so, how to let her words carry that perfect note of bored authority. Most importantly, she knew how to use Princess Vara's name to protect the growing number of humans hiding in the station's forgotten corners. A soft chime indicated someone at her door. "Enter," she called, her accent carefully modulated to match Meridian speech patterns. Commander Dax strode in, his blue-tinged skin and sharp features marking him as one of the station's permanent Meridian staff. "Your Highness, we've apprehended an intruder in the cargo levels. A human." Kate's heart skipped, but her face remained impassive. "Another scavenger, I assume." "This one's different. He had military codes. Old ones, but they nearly got him into the secure areas." She turned from the mirror, letting the shimmer veil ripple with the movement. "Show me." The holding cells were 3 levels down, in a section of the station Kate normally avoided. Every step she took echoed off metal walls that had seen better decades. Commander Dax led her to the last cell, where a man sat with his head bowed. He looked up as they approached, and Kate nearly stumbled. His eyes were the deep brown of earth soil, something she hadn't seen in years. Despite the bruises on his face, his gaze was sharp, analytical. This was no ordinary refugee. "Leave us," she commanded. Commander Dax hesitated, then bowed and retreated. The man stood, his movements careful but unafraid. "Your Highness," he said, and something in his tone made Kate's skin prickle. He knew. Somehow, he knew she wasn't what she claimed to be. "Your name," she demanded, falling back on royal authority. "Alex Reed, former Earth Defense Force." He stepped closer to the cell's energy barrier, studying her face. "But you're more interesting. You've got hundreds of my people hidden away on this station, using a dead princess's name to keep them safe. That's either brilliant or insane." Kate's fingers twitched toward her emergency beacon, but she kept them still. "I don't know what you're talking about. The real Princess Vara died 3 years ago in the Callisto attack. I was there." His voice softened. "So either you're a very convincing ghost or you're playing a very dangerous game." Before Kate could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. The AI's voice echoed through the corridors. "Priority alert. Royal vessel approaching. King Varath of the Meridian Empire arriving in 6 hours." Kate's blood turned to ice. After 3 years of absence, the king was coming to see his daughter. And she was standing in front of the one person who could expose everything. Alex's expression shifted from accusation to concern. "That complicates things." "Be quiet," Kate snapped, mind racing. She hadn't anticipated this. The king hadn't visited the outer station since losing his daughter. Their intelligence had been certain of that. Something must have changed. She leaned closer to the barrier, dropping her royal facade. "How many others know what you know?" "Just me. I've been tracking refugee movements, trying to figure out how so many humans were vanishing into Meridian space. Didn't expect to find someone wearing a dead princess's face." Kate activated her comm. "Commander Dax, have the prisoner transferred to the private detention level, my quarters." She ignored Alex's raised eyebrow. "I'll question him personally about these military codes." "Your Highness, with your father arriving." "Exactly why I want this handled now. We don't need security complications during his visit." Minutes later, Kate paced her quarters while Alex sat cuffed to a chair, looking far too comfortable for a prisoner. The shimmer veil lay deactivated on her desk. No point in maintaining the illusion now. You're harboring over 300 humans in the maintenance levels, Alex said. Using redirected supply lines and modified cargo manifests, the station's resources are stretched thin, but you've kept them alive. 342, Kate corrected, and if you expose this, they die. Not just here, this station is a template. There are others like it across Meridian space. Thousands of lives depend on maintained deception. I'm not here to expose anything, I'm here to help. He leaned forward. The Resistance sent me. We've been trying to figure out who was running this operation. Never imagined it was one person, right under the Meridian's noses. Kate stopped pacing. Prove it. Alex recited a series of code phrases that made her shoulders relax slightly. They were Resistance authentication codes, updated weekly. He was telling the truth. Great timing, she muttered. My supposed father arrives in 5 hours, and I have a prison cell's worth of proof that I'm a fraud. You need me, Alex said simply. I know Meridian Royal Protocol better than most humans. I was part of the diplomatic corps before the war, and more importantly, I know details about the real Princess Vara that aren't in any database. Kate studied him. The bruises on his face were darkening, but his eyes remained clear and focused. He was right, she needed help, but trusting someone new today of all days. If I release you, she said carefully, I need your word that you'll follow my lead. One wrong move and it's not just me at risk. You have it, his expression softened. You've done something incredible here, let me help you protect it. The next 4 hours passed in a blur of preparation. Alex proved surprisingly valuable, drilling Kate on details of Vara's childhood that only someone close to the royal family would know. Small things, favorite foods, pet names, private jokes between father and daughter. The king used to call her Little Star, Alex explained as Kate adjusted her ceremonial attire, but only in private. It started when she was 5 and got lost in the palace gardens at night. He found her using the stars for navigation. Kate filed away each detail, but something was bothering her. You speak about her like you knew her personally. Alex went still for a moment. I was part of her security detail. Before the attack. There was more to that story, Kate could tell, but alarms interrupted any further questions. The royal vessel was beginning its docking sequence. Ready? Alex asked softly. Kate reactivated her shimmer veil, watching her features blur into the familiar mask of Princess Vara. No, but we're out of time. The royal vessel was smaller than Kate expected, more elegant than imposing. As she stood in the docking bay, surrounded by hastily assembled station staff, she forced herself to breathe slowly. Alex stood 2 steps behind her left shoulder, now wearing a cleaned and pressed security uniform. Commander Dax had protested his sudden reinstatement, but Kate's royal authority had settled the matter. The ship's doors opened with a soft hiss. King Varath was not the towering figure propaganda made him out to be. He was tall, yes, but lean rather than imposing, with silver-streaked hair and eyes that seemed to carry the weight of stars. When those eyes fell on Kate, she felt her carefully constructed world tremble. Father, she said, bowing precisely as Alex had coached her, welcome to Station 7. The king moved forward slowly, each step deliberate. Kate held her breath as he reached for her face, his fingers brushing the shimmer veil. For one horrifying moment, she thought he would deactivate it. Instead, he pulled her into an embrace. My little star, he whispered, and Kate's heart nearly stopped. It's been too long. Over the king's shoulder, she saw Alex's face tighten. That name, Little Star, was supposed to be private, used only between father and daughter, but the king had said it here in front of others. Something wasn't right. Too long, Kate agreed, pulling back carefully. We have much to discuss. Indeed we do. The king's smile didn't quite reach his eyes. Starting with why my daughter is harboring human refugees on a royal station. The docking bay went silent. Kate felt the blood drain from her face, but years of deception kept her voice steady. I don't understand. No more lies, please. King Varath's voice was soft, almost sad. I've known about this station's activities for months. What I don't know is who you are, wearing my dead daughter's face. Guards emerged from the royal vessel, weapons raised. Commander Dax and his security team looked confused, weapons half-drawn, unsure where to point them. Station 7 security, stand down, the king commanded. This woman is not who she claims to be. Kate felt Alex step closer, his presence steady behind her. She had seconds to make a decision that would affect hundreds of lives. Run, fight, beg. Instead, she reached up and deactivated her shimmer veil. You're right, she said, letting her natural features show. I'm not your daughter, but everything I've done here I've done in her name. To protect people who needed protection, to show mercy where mercy was needed. She straightened her spine, just as she would have done. The king's expression flickered. You speak as if you knew her. She knows Vara better than you think, Alex said suddenly, stepping forward. Your Majesty, there's something you need to know about the Callisto attack. The king's attention shifted to Alex, and his eyes widened in recognition. Captain Reed, you were reported dead with my daughter. No, sir, I survived. And I've carried the truth about that day for 3 years. Alex's voice was heavy with purpose. The attack wasn't random. Vara discovered something about the refugee crisis, about why humans were really being driven from their colonies. She was trying to tell you when. The king raised his hand, silencing Alex. This is not a conversation for public ears. His eyes swept the docking bay. My private chambers on the ship. Both of you. Kate exchanged a quick glance with Alex as they followed the king. The guards fell into formation around them, not quite prisoners, but not quite free either. As they walked, Kate activated her emergency protocols through her hidden comm link. If things went wrong, at least the refugees would have warning to activate their escape routes. The king's private chamber was austere, with only a single window looking out into space. Once the doors sealed behind them, he turned to Alex. Speak, what did my daughter discover? Alex's hands clenched at his sides. The colonies weren't being attacked by raiders or pirates. Those were staged. Vara found evidence that certain factions within the Meridian Empire were orchestrating the attacks, driving humans away from resource-rich systems. She was gathering proof, Kate added softly, pieces finally clicking into place. That's why she was on Callisto. The king sat heavily in his chair. How do you know this? Because I helped her, Alex said, his voice rough with emotion. We weren't just security detail and princess. We were, he paused, struggling with the words. In love, the king finished quietly. I knew. Did you think I didn't see how she looked at you, how you looked at her? Kate watched the exchange, suddenly understanding why Alex knew so many intimate details about Vara's life. Why the pain in his voice when he spoke of her felt so personal. The attack on Callisto wasn't meant to kill her, Alex continued. They were trying to stop her from reaching you with the evidence, but it went wrong. The explosions, the fire, he stopped, the memory clearly still raw. I couldn't save her, but I saved this. He pulled a small data crystal from under his collar, where it hung on a chain. Everything she discovered. Everything she died trying to expose. I've spent 3 years gathering more evidence, building on her work. The king took the crystal with trembling hands. Why didn't you come to me sooner? Because we didn't know who to trust, Kate interjected. The same reason I started this sanctuary program. Too many coincidences, too many convenient accidents happening to humans who knew too much. And now, the king's eyes were sharp on her face. Why reveal all this now? Kate lifted her chin. Because you came looking for your daughter and found someone trying to continue her work instead. Because these refugees deserve real protection, not just hidden corners and borrowed names. Because Vara deserves justice. The king was silent for a long moment, staring at the crystal in his hand. Finally, he looked up at Kate. You took my daughter's name, her face, her position. You committed treason simply by existing. A pause. And in doing so, you may have saved more lives than you know. He stood, his bearing suddenly regal again. Captain Reed, I want this evidence analyzed immediately. And you, he turned to Kate, will show me every part of this sanctuary you've built. I want to see exactly what you've accomplished in my daughter's name. Sir, Kate wasn't sure she'd heard correctly. My daughter died trying to protect your people. It seems only fitting that her name continues to do so, properly this time, with full royal authority. Alex stepped forward. Your Majesty, there are those in your court who won't want this exposed. Let them come, the king said grimly. They took my daughter from me. It's time they learned what that means. The next few hours were a blur of activity. Kate led the king through the hidden levels of Station 7, watching his face as he saw what she'd built. Families living in converted cargo bays, makeshift schools teaching both human and Meridian children, hydroponic gardens tended by refugees who'd once been botanical engineers. They're not just hiding, she explained as they watched a group of children playing. They're building a life here, contributing. Some of our best station repairs are done by human engineers working off the official logs. The king observed everything with keen eyes. asking detailed questions about supply lines and security measures. When they reached the medical bay, where human and Meridian doctors worked side by side in an unofficial capacity, he finally spoke his mind. "You've created more than a sanctuary," he said. "You've built a template for coexistence." Before Kate could respond, alarms blared through the station. Alex's voice came through her calm. "We've got incoming ships, not friendly." The king's expression hardened, "Sooner than I expected. They must have traced my journey here." "Your Majesty," Kate said urgently, "we have evacuation protocols." No, his voice was firm. "No more running, no more hiding." He activated his royal comm link. "This is King Verath. I want all channels open, all frequencies broadcasting. It's time everyone heard the truth." What followed was the kind of speech that changes histories. The king stood in Station 7's main control room, broadcasting to every corner of Meridian space, and laid bare 3 years of corruption and conspiracy. He spoke of his daughter's murder, of the systematic displacement of humans, and of the sanctuary that bore witness to a better way forward. "My daughter believed our peoples could coexist," he concluded. "Her final act was an attempt to prove it. Today, on this forgotten station, I've seen her dream made real. No more shadows, no more fear. From this day forward, Station 7 and its programs have full royal protection." The approaching ships, faced with a public declaration from their king, had little choice but to retreat. But Kate knew this was just the beginning. "They'll try again," Alex said quietly as they watched the ships disappear from their sensors. "Different ways, different tactics." "Let them," the king replied. "Captain Reed, I'm appointing you official liaison between human refugees and the crown. And you," he turned to Kate, "I believe Station 7 needs a proper governor." Kate blinked. "Sir." "Someone who knows its people, its secrets, its potential. Someone who's proven they can bridge our worlds." He smiled slightly, "though perhaps without the Shimmerveil this time." "There will be resistance," Kate warned. "From both sides." "Good," the king's eyes held a fierce light. "Change should be challenged, that's how we know it matters." Later that night, after the king had retired to his ship and the station hummed with cautious celebration, Kate found Alex in her office, looking out at the stars. "You never told me you loved her," she said softly. He turned, his eyes reflecting starlight. "Didn't know how. Vara and I, we were going to change everything. When I found you using her name to protect people, it felt like some part of her was still fighting." Kate moved to stand beside him. "What happens now?" "Now," Alex smiled slightly. "Now we finish what she started, build something real from all this borrowed hope." He hesitated, then added, "Together." "If you want." Kate looked out at the stars, thinking of borrowed names and real dreams of endings that became beginnings. "Together," she agreed. In the distance, the gas giant cast its light across Station 7, making the old metal shine like new. Somewhere in the lower levels, children were learning to speak each other's languages. In the medical bay, doctors were sharing centuries of separate knowledge. In the gardens, different worlds were growing together. It wasn't the sanctuary Kate had first imagined, but maybe it was better. Not just a hiding place, but a beginning. Not just borrowed names, but new stories waiting to be told. She reached for Alex's hand in the starlight, and together they watched their new world spin.